You ever have one of those moments where you realize someone picked the wrong person to mess with? Not because you're tough or powerful or connected, but because you're just done letting people walk all over you? Yeah, that was me, standing in the driveway of my new house in little old Brookhaven Ridge, Colorado, holding a box of mismatched kitchen utensils, wondering how in the world my life turned into a reality show. I had moved back home after years of drifting between teaching jobs, trying to rebuild my life after a rough divorce. I figured, hey, new start, quiet neighborhood. Maybe I can finally breathe a little. Then she appeared. Her name, at least the name she introduced herself with, was Charlotte Whitmore. 40-something. Hard jawline. Designer jogging suit, even though she absolutely did not jog. And that walk. You know that walk people get when they think they're the sheriff in a movie? Except she wasn't the sheriff. She wasn't even on the HOA board. She was just Charlotte. She stormed across the street with a clipboard like she was serving a warrant. I'm not exaggerating. Car door slams, sunglasses drop down her nose, and she points at me like I'm a trespasser on my own property. You must be the new resident, she says, not smiling. We need to talk about several problems. Several problems. I'd been there 8 minutes. The grass hadn't even had time to offend anyone yet. I tell her, hi? I haven't even found where I put my forks yet. She doesn't care. She launches into this rapid-fire list of complaints. The moving truck blocking her line of sight, the color of the flower pots on my porch, and the fact that I parked too close to her mailbox, which was across the street and nowhere near my car. And then she hits me with the line that told me everything I needed to know. We keep things orderly in this neighborhood. People like you tend to disrupt that. People like me. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but it stung. Hard. A quiet part of me that had spent years being underestimated woke up. Still, I tried being polite, tried diffusing her attitude, tried giving her the benefit of the doubt. But then she leaned in close enough that I could smell her peppermint gum, and whispered, I'll be watching. And that was the moment I realized I wasn't dealing with a neighbor. I was dealing with a bully who'd never been challenged. Boy, was she about to regret picking me. The first week, I tried ignoring her. I'm a high school English teacher. I deal with dramatic people every day. I figured she'd get bored. Move on. Nope. Charlotte was committed. She was like if a crow and a Ring camera had a baby. My first morning walking to my car, she popped out from behind a hydrangea bush with her phone pointed at me. Documenting. She called out loudly, as if I should be grateful. Later that week, I caught her inspecting my recycling bin like she was searching for contraband. Another day, I come home to find a laminated list taped to my front door titled Community Behavior Guidelines, which I'm pretty sure she typed up at 3 a.m. on a caffeine high. But then, it escalated. She started telling neighbors I was a risk, said she'd done her research, that I was unstable. She convinced an older couple 2 doors down that I was vandalizing backyard fences. Spoiler, it was her cousin's dog. And still, I tried to keep my head down. I had papers to grade, a new job to adjust to, a cat who kept eating houseplants. I did not have time to wage suburban warfare. But then she made it personal. One Monday morning, my principal calls me into his office with this disappointed dad face he saves for cheating scandals and cafeteria fights. Evan, he says, rubbing his temples, we got a complaint about your behavior in the community. I laughed at first, thought it was a joke. Then he reads the email. Charlotte accused me of threatening behavior, aggressive surveillance, and public intoxication. Public intoxication. Me, a guy who gets tipsy from half a cider. I could feel my chest tightening, my face heating up. I'd worked so hard for this job, for stability. And here she was, swinging wild accusations like a kid with a foam bat. My principal, bless his heart, didn't believe her fully, but he asked me to keep a low profile. That was the day something snapped in me. The bullied teenager who used to eat lunch in a bathroom stall? Yeah, he stood up. I started documenting everything. Video, dates, times. At first, it was just self-defense. But then patterns started emerging. Weird patterns. Like how Charlotte always carried a leather binder full of printed community complaints that looked way too professional. Or how she claimed to speak for a neighborhood standards committee that didn't exist. Or how she always referenced some vague, higher authority. And then, the twist dropped into my lap. One night, while taking out the trash, I overheard her arguing angrily on the phone in her driveway. She didn't see me, but I heard every word. No, I don't care how you spin it. Marcus, she snapped. I gave you everything you needed. The signatures, the affidavits. You said this settlement would be airtight. Settlement. My brain paused. Settlement for what? Then she said something that changed the entire game. I'm not losing this case. I need that payout, you hear me? My reputation depends on it. Payout. Case. Affidavits. My English teacher brain started putting pieces together. Charlotte wasn't just a bored suburban tyrant. She was in the middle of some kind of legal scheme, and I'd walked right into it. I needed answers. So I dug. Public records. Social media. County minutes. Old HOA newsletters. And what I found was messy. 3 years earlier, Charlotte had filed a wrongful injury lawsuit after allegedly being attacked by a neighbor's dog. Except, photos showed her jogging the day after the injury. The case was thrown out. Shortly after that, she filed a harassment claim against a different neighbor who'd complained about her behavior. That case settled privately. Then another one. And another. Each time, the pattern was the same. She documented them, provoked them, turned neighbors against them, filed claims, and profited. She was running a neighborhood harassment racket, manufacturing conflict until someone snapped, then cashing in when they retaliated. And I, her newest target, was supposed to be her next angry neighbor. But the scariest part? She never filed claims herself. She always convinced someone else to file them on her behalf, quietly coaching them from behind the scenes, so she never got blamed if it blew up. This wasn't a feud anymore. This was a setup. And she thought she had the perfect victim. The breaking point. 2 nights before everything exploded, she made her move. I woke up to the sound of knocking at 11:45 p.m. Police. They'd received a report that I'd been screaming threats at Charlotte from my backyard. I hadn't even been awake. I showed them my indoor camera footage. They apologized. They left. But the officers told me something important. Sir, this is the 3rd complaint this month. Whoever's calling them in knows exactly what to say to make it sound urgent. And just like that, I understood. Charlotte didn't need me to snap. She just needed enough incidents documented to file something big. A restraining order. A civil claim. Maybe even a public defamation suit. She wanted me painted as dangerous. And she was running out of time to do it. I stayed up all night thinking. Angry. Humiliated. Heart-pounding. My life had been small for a while, and I'd been okay with that. Until someone tried to take even that from me. I wasn't going to let her rewrite my story. 2 days later, it happened. A knock on my door. A man in a navy blazer. Briefcase. Sunglasses. Mr. Carter? I'm here to serve you. She'd done it. Filed a civil suit against me for emotional distress, ongoing harassment, and creating a hostile environment. The hearing was set for Friday morning. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Cold, focused determination. You want to fight? Okay, but you better pray you're clean. Because I'm tired of being the quiet kid who absorbs everyone's punches. Friday morning, I walked into the courtroom with a folder of evidence thick enough to use as a doorstop. Not just videos and timestamps, but something far more important, the truth about her scheme. Charlotte walked in wearing a neck brace. A neck brace. She waved weakly at the judge like a politician. Behind her were 3 neighbors she'd manipulated, including poor Mr. Langley, who looked like he'd been dragged there against his will. Her lawyer began with this dramatic speech about her trauma, her fear, her shattered sense of safety. I swear if you added music, it could have won an Oscar. Then it was my turn. I didn't attack her character, didn't raise my voice, didn't rant. I simply laid out the timeline. Complaint dates, false police reports, edited videos she'd sent the HOA, contradictions in her own affidavit. And then, the twist she never saw coming. I submitted recordings of her late-night argument about settlements, plus texts I'd obtained legally from a neighbor she'd tried to recruit for her scheme. Texts where she coached them on what to say in a harassment claim, in exchange for a percentage of the payout. The courtroom went silent. Her lawyer froze. Charlotte's face drained of color. Then the judge asked the question that ended everything. Ms. Whitmore, are you currently involved in any pending civil action involving a neighbor other than Mr. Carter? She tried to dance around it. But judges don't like dancers. She admitted, under oath, that yes, she was. 5 cases. 5 different people. All in the same neighborhood. The judge leaned back, sighed, and said, this is not a harassment claim. This is a pattern. Case dismissed. All fees assigned to her. And the judge ordered a fraud investigation. Charlotte broke. Right there in the courtroom. Neck brace coming off. Makeup streaking. Screaming that everyone deserved what was coming. As officers escorted her out, she turned and pointed at me. "This isn't over, Evan. People like you don't belong here." And I swear, as they dragged her away, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt sad. Sad for every person she'd hurt. Sad for the neighbors she terrified. Sad for the life she'd built around manipulation. But also relieved. For once, the quiet kid had won. Weeks later, after everything settled, I got a letter in the mail. Not from the court. From her. A handwritten note that simply said, "You ruined everything. I hope you're happy." I held that note for a long time. Because here's the truth. I'm not happy she fell. I'm relieved I survived her. Some people don't. Some people get crushed by lies. Some lose their jobs. Some break under pressure. Some move away and never recover. I got lucky. I had evidence. And courage. And maybe a small part of me that finally decided I'd had enough. So let me ask you this. Where do we draw the line between concerned neighbor and dangerous manipulator? Have you ever known someone like Charlotte? Someone who twists the system, weaponizes fear, or hides behind rules to hurt others? Do you think people like her deserve sympathy or consequences? Drop your thoughts below. Because stories like this, they're not as rare as we want to believe. And the more we talk about them, the less power bullies have.